Lil Durk has been facing legal troubles for a few years now. While the rapper is currently detained and awaiting trial, there has been an explosive update in his case. So what has got the internet on fire?
Wiretaps, recordings, and all that, like, he was in too deep with a J. Reed.
Well, there are leaked audio recordings that have evidence in Lil Durk's alleged involvement in not one, but two murder-for-hire plots and have completely transformed this whole situation. What does this mean for Lil Durk and his plans to be free soon? Stay locked in, because we're breaking it down. The leaked audios and wiretaps. If you've been keeping tabs on this whole situation, you know things have been moving mad crazy since Durk got booked in October 2024. But check this, these recently leaked audio recordings and court docs have completely flipped the script on everything we thought we knew about the case. Y'all need to understand just how massive the federal government's evidence collection has been against Lil Durk. According to court documents, prosecutors have gathered approximately 230 gigabytes of digital evidence in their case against Durk and his co-defendants. This includes audio recordings, surveillance footage, and over 20,000 pages of paperwork detailing alleged violent crimes. This mountain of evidence is why Durk's trial, originally scheduled for January 7, 2025, got pushed back to October 14, 2025, with both the prosecution and defense acknowledging that the case is mad complex. But what neither side could have seen coming was how leaked portions of this evidence would make their way to the streets, creating a media firestorm and potentially swaying public opinion months before the trial even kicks off. So what exactly are these leaked recordings, and what tea do they spill? According to multiple reports from April 2025, the most explosive leaks involve wiretapped conversations allegedly catching Durk discussing payments related to the murder-for-hire plots. A video was posted suggesting that federal authorities had planted a rat in cell with one of Durk's associates, who recorded incriminating convos about payment for the alleged murder-for-hire plots. Earlier in the month, another video was posted about wiretap evidence and an alleged confession by Brick Baby connected to Lil Durk's murder-for-hire charges.
Wiretaps, recordings, and all that, like, he was in too deep with a J. Reed.
These videos line up with what court documents have revealed about how the feds have been gathering evidence in this case. And perhaps most importantly, they point to what may be the government's strongest evidence against Durk's snitches and recorded conversations. One of the most significant developments in the case involves a man identified in court documents as AJ, who got booked for possession of a stolen murder vehicle and later locked up at Illinois River Correctional Center. According to court filings, the FBI put an informant in AJ's cell, who recorded conversations where AJ allegedly gave all the details about planning and executing the Stefan Mack murder, as well as payments related to the hit. This is particularly damaging because it allegedly ties Durk directly to the payment for the Mack murder, which prosecutors claim was a getback for the 2021 killing of Durk's brother Dante OTF DeThang Banks. The information also suggests that another individual, referred to as Marley in the recordings, was name-dropped by AJ over 10 times and described as having a key role in the homicide. This type of evidence, detailed, first-person accounts of criminal activity, is exactly what prosecutors dream of having in a case like this. And it looks like the federal government has managed to secure multiple such recordings. But the audio evidence doesn't stop there. According to a CBS Chicago news report highlighted in one of the leaked videos, prosecutors say Mack was outside the Youth Peace Center of Roseland when he was gunned down. The FBI linked the two men charged with Mack's murder to Durk using texts and confidential informants. This suggests that beyond the jailhouse informant recordings, the FBI may have additional audio evidence from wiretaps or other confidential informants that haven't hit the streets yet. Adding to the mounting evidence against Durk are text messages that allegedly link him directly to the murder plots. According to court documents, these messages include conversations about payment for the hits. These text messages, if authentic, could provide prosecutors with a direct link between Durk and the payment for the alleged murder-for-hire plots, a crucial element in proving the conspiracy charges. The leaked information also suggests that federal authorities have evidence that Durk was trying to move smart and cover his tracks. According to the indictment in the Quando Rondo case, Durk allegedly sent a text message to an associate instructing them, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with sick me," apparently trying to avoid creating a paper trail that could tie him to the plot. Even more concerning for Durk and his legal team is the suggestion that federal authorities may have flipped multiple individuals involved in the alleged plots. The leaked information indicates that AJ's recorded confession was just one one piece of a larger puzzle, with federal authorities using his cooperation to convince others to snitch on Lil Durk. According to one account in the leaked information, AIR AJ went to jail in March 2023. The feds came to him, had a conversation with him, and after that conversation, the feds had enough to build this RICO against OTF. So Air Jam went bad and told, well, that right there was all the feds needed, and the feds got other people to start telling and start explaining exactly what happened and who called the hit and who was there and who took the trip and who paid for the credit cards, and the feds had everything they needed. All these suggest a domino effect of snitching, with one witness's testimony leading to others, ultimately creating a comprehensive picture of the alleged conspiracy that prosecutors can present to a jury. What's particularly interesting about the leaked information is the suggestion that Durk already knew the feds were closing in on him. According to one account, Lil Durk wasn't caught by surprise. He already knew that OTF Jam had snitched. As a matter of fact, Lil Durk was expecting everybody to get arrested at his birthday bash concert in Chicago. This claim could explain why Durk allegedly had multiple escape routes planned on the day of his arrest at Miami International Airport. If he knew federal charges were about to drop, his attempt to ghost the country makes more sense. But beyond the evidence directly tying Durk to the alleged murder-for-hire plots, prosecutors also appear to be building a case around his alleged pattern of putting bags on his enemies' heads. According to court documents, federal authorities claim that Durk was offering money for people to kill those responsible for his brother's murder, specifically targeting Gangster Disciples members, as D-Thang's killer was believed to be affiliated with a faction tied to Smashville. This pattern of behavior, if proven, could be devastating to Lil Durk's defense, as it establishes a motive and modus operandi that aligns perfectly with the specific murder-for-hire charges he's facing. The leaked audio recordings and information about the federal government's evidence gathering have sent shocks through the hip-hop community and Lil Durk's fan base. On social media platforms like Reddit, fans are expressing shock and disappointment, with many who had believed in Durk's innocence now questioning their position in light of these revelations. A user noted disappointment, believing Durk was pushing for peace and influencing youth positively, but felt he threw his life away for revenge tied to King Von's 2020 death. Others, however, remained skeptical of the leaked information, pointing out that without official confirmation from the court or Durk's legal team, it's difficult to assess the authenticity or context of these recordings. Some fans argue that the recordings could be manipulated or taken out of context, and that Durk deserves the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. Durk's attorney Drew Findling hasn't commented specifically on the leaked audio recordings, but has consistently maintained his client's innocence, emphasizing that the government's case is built on circumstantial evidence rather than direct proof of Durk's involvement in the alleged plots. Law enforcement sources, meanwhile, have remained tight-lipped about the leaks, neither confirming nor denying their authenticity. This is standard practice in high-profile federal cases where prosecutors typically prefer to let their evidence speak for itself in court rather than trying the case in the media. But regardless of the official stance, the leaked recordings have undeniably changed the public perception of this case. What was once seen as potentially circumstantial now appears to be part of a comprehensive body of evidence that could prove difficult for Durk's defense team to overcome. Away from these leaks, let's make sure everyone's on the same wave about how Lil Durk ended up in this much trouble. Lil Durk's legal tango. Durk Devontae Banks, known in these streets as Lil Durk, has been putting on for Chicago as one of the most influential voices in drill music. The Grammy winner behind bangers like All My Life with J. Cole was living his best life at the top of the game. But behind the scenes, the feds were building what they believe is an airtight case against the voice of the streets. The whole thing popped off on October 24, 2024. When U.S. Marshals snatched Lil Durk up at Miami International Airport.
He's locked up, nigga. I got the whole shit, the mug show. No, no. No.
According to the feds, Durk wasn't just trying to catch a flight, he was allegedly trying to ghost the country on a private jet headed to Italy. What's even more sus is that investigators claim Durk had also booked one-way commercial flights to Switzerland via New Jersey and to Dubai via Qatar on the same day. That's 3 separate exit strategies planned for the same day. Not exactly how an innocent man moves, you feel me? So, what had Durk allegedly running for the border? The charges are mad serious, no cap. A federal grand jury indictment issued on November 8, 2024, hit Durk with conspiracy to commit commit murder for hire, use of interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death, and using, carrying, and discharging firearms in furtherance of a crime of violence resulting in death. If the jury finds him guilty on all counts, Durk is looking at a max sentence of life in the feds, and we all know ain't no parole in the federal system. At the heart of these charges is an alleged murder for hire plot targeting rapper Quando Rondo. According to the prosecutors, this wasn't just some random street beef. It was a calculated get-back for the 2020 killing of King Von, Durk's close homie and artist signed to his Only the Family, OTF label. King Von's death at the hands of Quando Rondo's associate Timothy Lil Tim Leaks created mad tension in the rap world that prosecutors say Durk was determined to address with violence. They allege that Durk put a bag on Quando Rondo's head, offering bread and OTF opportunities to anyone willing to slide for Von. The alleged hit went down on August 19, 2022 in Los Angeles. According to the feds, 5 OTF associates, Kayvon London Grant, aka Cuz, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, aka OTF Diddy, Keith Jones, aka Flocka, David Bryan Lindsay, aka Brown Eyes, and Asa Houston, aka OTF Boogie, got the drop that Quando Rondo was staying at a Los Angeles hotel. With Durk allegedly bankrolling the operation, they flew to Cali, copped 2 luxury whips, grabbed some ski masks, and secured the Blitz, including what prosecutors describe as a fully automatic machine gun. The federal indictment claims the OTF hitters tracked Quando Rondo and his cousin, Saviaya Robinson, aka Lil Pab, as they were moving through LA in a Cadillac Escalade. Air following them to multiple spots, the squad allegedly let it rain at a gas station, dumping at least 18 rounds. Robinson caught the worst of it and died in the attack, though Quando Rondo and his sister, who were also in the vehicle, made it out unscathed. What's got the government's case looking so sturdy is the mountain of evidence they claim to have stacked up. In addition to the mountain load of evidence prosecutors are sitting on, investigators claim they traced a credit card linked to OTF that was used to book flights and a hotel room for the co-defendants. Durk pled not guilty to all charges during his arraignment in Los Angeles on November 14, 2024. His legal team, led by high-profile attorney Drew Findling, who the streets call the billion-dollar lawyer, has been maintaining his innocence, arguing that the evidence against him is all cap. Despite Durk's team claiming he's innocent, the voice of the streets has been held without bond since his arrest. On December 12, 2024, U.S. Magistrate Judge Patricia Donahue denied a pretrial release motion, saying Durk's resources and potential to flee were too high risk. His legal squad offered a heavy bond package, including $2.3 million in equity from 2 Georgia cribs and $1 million in cash from Sony Music, along with around-the-clock security. But the judge wasn't trying to hear it. Making things worse for Durk, prosecutors claimed he was violating jail rules at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles by hitting unauthorized 3-way calls, further convincing the judge he should stay locked up. These allegations of breaking jailhouse code would later come back to haunt Durk in ways nobody saw coming. But the case against Lil Durk doesn't stop with the Quando Rondo situation. In a wild twist that makes his legal troubles even more complicated, a newly unsealed FBI affidavit filed in Chicago in 2023 alleges that Durk might be connected to a second murder for hire plot involving the January 2022 shooting of Stefan Mack, a 24-year-old believed to be a shot caller in the Smashville faction of the Gangster Disciples. According to the paperwork, Mack caught a Fatal One AR leaving a youth center in Chicago. The FBI document references text messages and social media posts discussing payment from Durk for Mack's murder, which was allegedly get back for the 2021 killing of Durk's brother, Dante OTF D-Thang Banks. While Durk hasn't caught formal charges in this case yet, prosecutors used this affidavit to argue against his pretrial release in the Quando Rondo case, highlighting what they describe as a pattern of alleged violent behavior. Federal prosecutors have also claimed that Durk offered bags for other hits, including one targeting a family member of a witness, though specific details remain limited. These allegations came up during his December 2024 detention hearing to emphasize why he's a danger to the community. As if the criminal charges weren't enough heat, Durk is also facing multiple wrongful death lawsuits related to violent incidents allegedly tied to him and OTF. On February 24, 2025, Andrea Laquila Robinson, the mother of Saviaya Robinson, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Durk, his business manager, OTF, and a related company in Cook County Court, Chicago. The lawsuit claims that Robinson's death in the 2022 Los Angeles shooting was a direct result of a targeted attack orchestrated by Durk. Additionally, in October 2024, the mother of Chicago rapper FBG Duck, Carlton Weekly, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Durk, OTF, King Von's estate, and several music companies. The lawsuit alleges that Durk and OTF orchestrated a campaign of violence against FBG Duck, including putting a $100,000 bounty on his head, leading to his fatal shooting in Chicago's Gold Coast area in August 2020. Despite these serious legal challenges, Durk has continued to make moves in the music world. His 9th studio album, Deep Thoughts, dropped on March 28, 2025, while he was behind the wall. In a message shared on Instagram on March 27, 2025, Durk wrote, "I wasn't gonna put this out, but then I remembered the streets need this. Not being outside with y'all when I drop is hard, but I know I will feel y'all love and energy through these walls. Thank y'all for rocking with me through everything. I tell these stories so our voice is never lost. I'm coming home soon stronger than ever." The leaked audio recordings that have recently hit the streets cast serious doubt on Durk's optimistic message to the fans. These recordings, along with other evidence that has come to light, have completely changed the trajectory of this case in ways that nobody could have predicted. The implications of these leaks extend far beyond just the legal proceedings against Durk. They raise serious questions about the future of his career and his legacy in hip-hop. Lil Durk's bleak future. First, legal experts suggest that if these recordings are authentic and admissible in court, they could significantly strengthen the prosecution's case. The federal government already has a conviction rate of over 90% in cases that go to trial, and evidence like wiretapped conversations and testimony from snitches Owen proves. Devastating to a defendant's chances of beating the case. The reality is that federal prosecutors typically don't bring cases unless they're confident they can secure a conviction, and the extensive evidence collection in this case, 230 gigabytes of digital files and 20,000 pages of reports, suggest that they've built a comprehensive case against Durk and his co-defendants. Durk's legal team, led by high-profile attorney Drew Findling, will likely challenge the admissibility of the leaked recordings and question the credibility of any snitches. They may also argue that the government's case relies too heavily on the interpretation of song lyrics in social media posts, a controversial practice that critics like University of Richmond professor Eric Nielsen have described as dangerously sloppy. But even with a strong defense strategy, the sheer volume of evidence and the specific nature of the charges make this a challenging case to defend against. If convicted on all counts, Durk faces a maximum sentence of life in federal prison, a sobering reality that has his fans and the hip-hop community at large deeply concerned. There are some who strongly believe that Lil Durk won't survive this Fed case.
I don't necessarily think you're just beating a Fed case like that. I think there's gonna be a difference where, 5 years, yeah, you'll survive that. 10 years, you'll survive that. An 80-year sentence plus life, you're not making it.
And it's not just the criminal charges that Durk needs to worry about. As we mentioned earlier, he's also facing multiple wrongful death lawsuits, including one filed by the mother of Saviaya Robinson, Lil Pab, and another by the mother of FBG Duck. These civil cases could potentially cost Durk millions in damages, further adding to his legal woes. Speaking of financial implications, let's consider what these legal troubles mean for Durk's career and bag. Since his arrest in October 2024, Durk has been held without bond, meaning he's been unable to tour or participate in many of the activities that typically generate income for artists. While he did drop his album Deep Thoughts in March 2025 from behind the wall, the promotional opportunities for the project were severely limited by his incarceration. There's also the matter of legal fees, which can quickly run up in a high-profile federal case like this. Securing a top-tier attorney like Drew Findling doesn't come cheap, and the complex nature of the case means that his legal team will need to put in major work for his defense. Beyond the immediate financial impact, there's the question of Durk's legacy and place in hip-hop history. Before his arrest, Durk was widely regarded as one of the most influential figures in drill music, with a Grammy win and multiple successful albums to his name. But now, his legacy is at risk of being defined by these allegations rather than his musical contributions. The situation has drawn comparisons to other high-profile legal cases in hip-hop, including Young Thug's ongoing RICO trial in Atlanta. Like Durk, Young Thug is facing allegations that his music collective, YSL in Young Thug's case, operated as a criminal enterprise. These cases have ignited debate about how the criminal justice system treats hip-hop artists and whether prosecutors unfairly target rap music and the culture surrounding it. Critics like Eric Nielsen have argued that prosecutors misinterpret rap lyrics as literal confessions, failing to recognize the artistic expression and character play that are fundamental to the genre. However, in Durk's case, the evidence appears to extend well beyond just his lyrics. The alleged wiretap conversations, text messages, and testimony from snitches all point to real-world actions rather than artistic expression. This makes it harder to argue that he's being targeted simply because of his music or cultural identity. Still, the case raises important questions about the complex relationship between art and reality in hip-hop, and the responsibility that artists have for the messages they send through their music. Durk, like many drill artists, has rapped about violence and street life. Now he's accused of living out those lyrics in ways that have had devastating real-world consequences. The impact effect of these allegations extends beyond just Durk himself to affect the many people connected to him, both personally and professionally. His fans, who have supported him throughout his career, are now struggling with the possibility that their favorite artist may have been involved in multiple murders. His family, including his children, face the prospect of him spending decades or even the rest of his life behind bars. Then there are the victims and their families. Saviaya Robinson's mother, Andrea Laquila Robinson, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Durk. FBG Duck's mother has similarly sought justice for her son's killing, which she alleges was orchestrated by Durk and OTF. The families of King Von and Dante Dethang Banks are also affected, as their deaths are allegedly central to Durk's motives for the murder-for-hire plots. The cycle of violence and get-back that these killings represent has caused immeasurable pain to multiple families and communities. Looking ahead to Durk's trial in October 2025, several key factors will likely determine the outcome. First, there's the question of whether his co-defendants will fold and cooperate with prosecutors in exchange for leniency. According to court documents, co-defendant DeAndre Dontrell Wilson has requested a pre-plea sentence report indicating he may be exploring a plea deal. If Wilson or other co-defendants agree to testify against Durk, it could significantly strengthen the prosecution's case. There's also the possibility that Durk himself could seek a plea agreement rather than going to trial. Given the strength of the evidence against him and the potential for a life sentence if convicted, a plea deal might be his best option for securing a shorter sentence. However, any plea would likely require him to admit guilt to serious charges, potentially damaging his reputation and legacy beyond repair. On social media platforms, users have discussed the implications of the leaked recordings, with some suggesting that they confirm what many had suspected all along, while others remain hopeful that Durk can somehow overcome these charges. The sentiment seems to be split between those who believe Durk's actions were justified by street loyalty, particularly his desire to get back for King Von's death, and those who see his alleged involvement in murder-for-hire plots as a tragic waste of his talent and potential. The case also raises broader questions about violence in hip-hop and the real-world consequences of the beefs and rivalries that Owen play out in lyrics and on social media. The alleged feud between Durk's OTF collective and Quando Rondo's crew is just one example of how conflicts in the hip-hop world can escalate from diss tracks to actual violence, with devastating results. Some critics argue that the industry itself bears some responsibility for glorifying and monetizing these beefs, turning real-life conflicts into marketing opportunities without considering the potential for violence. Others point to the systemic issues that contribute to violence in the communities that many hip-hop artists come from, arguing that the music simply reflects these realities rather than creating them. Regardless of where you stand on these issues, it's clear that the consequences of violence extend far beyond just the immediate victims. In the case of the alleged murder-for-hire plots involving Durk, we see a cascading effect of tragedy, from King Von's death to the killing of Saviaya Robinson, to the potential life imprisonment of Durk and his co-defendants. As we follow this case in the coming months, we'll likely learn more about the evidence against Durk and his co-defendants, the strategies of both the prosecution and defense, and the potential impact on the hip-hop industry as a whole. In the meantime, Durk remains locked up at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles, awaiting his October trial. His album Deep Thoughts continues to stream on major platforms, and his fans remain active on social media, debating his innocence or guilt and speculating about his future. For real, these wiretap recordings have completely flipped the script on how we're viewing this whole situation. It's gone from maybe he did it, maybe he didn't, to the feds having receipts on receipts. And that's the thing about the federal system. They don't move until they're absolutely certain they can secure a conviction. That 90% conviction rate isn't just for show. It's because they build their cases meticulously before they ever take someone to court. We're seeing this pattern more and more in hip-hop, where artists who came up rapping about street life find themselves caught between the persona they've created and the real-world consequences of the lifestyle. But in Durk's case, if these allegations prove true, it goes beyond just talking about it in songs. It's about allegedly orchestrating actual violence and putting money behind it. What makes this case particularly sad is that Durk had really elevated himself to become one of the voices of Chicago. He had the platform, the talent, and the opportunity to break the cycle of violence that has claimed so many lives in his community. Instead, according to prosecutors, he used his resources to perpetuate that cycle in the name of loyalty and revenge. It's a stark reminder of how street beef can escalate and consume everything in its path. What started with King Von's death has now potentially led to multiple other deaths, multiple wrongful death lawsuits, and the potential life imprisonment of multiple individuals. It's a lose-lose situation for everyone involved. As this case moves forward toward the October trial date, we'll keep you updated on any new developments. Until then, we're led to wonder whether Durk's message about coming home stronger than ever is the confidence of an innocent man or the wishful thinking of someone facing overwhelming evidence. If you enjoyed this video, click on any of the ones showing on your screen to enjoy more.